July 4th, 2008, Camp Howling Lake. In Howling Lake, Kansas, Medina Cole, her boyfriend Tom Gray, and her family were tent camping on the campgrounds that Independence Day Friday. They were going to leave that Sunday afternoon. Both Medina and her boyfriend Tom were 20 years old. 28 years younger than Medina's mother, Marcia Cole. 30 years younger than Medina's father, Barnabas Cole, and 15 years older than her little brother, Darren. Medina's parents and brother had ivory skin and black hair with blue eyes. Medina was the same, but had her head shaved and stubbly, and liked to wear one white contact lens. Tom had naturally blonde hair, dyed pastel blue on one half, and pastel pink on the other half, coffee brown eyes, and porcelain skin. Medina had a septum ring and her left eyebrow pierced, and Tom had his lip pierced with hooped snake bites. Tom was carrying his wind-up portable radio on 93.4, The Mosh, the indie rock station for their town. It was about 9 in the afternoon when the music was briefly interrupted. Breaking news, Howling Lake. Serial killer Josh Silver has escaped Firedale Mental Institution as of last night. Witnesses last saw Silver at 2 a.m. at the edge of town. He is armed and very dangerous. Be on the lookout for suspicious activity. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Joshua Silver, call the cops immediately. This is Maxine, the radio voice, with 93.4, The Mosh. Now, back to the music, said Maxine, the radio voice. Tom and Medina had been walking the trail as the announcement went off. The sun was setting fast, and the mosquitoes were eeing around, and the moths were headbutting Medina's flashlight. Medina looked at Tom, and he looked at her while she looked at him. Silver's out? Christ, we're so dead! Tom exclaimed, then screamed right as he heard fireworks going off in the distance. Ah! But you're doing everything you can to protect me, right? Medina asked, laughing. Marshmallow! Darren shouted from behind the couple as he picked his nose. Darren was slow for a 5-year-old. You little shit, how long have you been behind us? Medina giggled, picking him up. He held up all 5 fingers on his right hand and said, This many! You snuck away when Mom and Dad weren't watching, didn't you? Medina asked, smirking. I want marshmallow and go pee, Darren said, crossing his arms over his lap. You can have marshmallows after dinner. You can pee by yourself now, right? Medina asked, letting Darren down to his feet. I pee alone, Darren said, nodding enthusiastically. He ran back towards camp and got about 20 feet from the campsite. Medina walked off trail to make sure. When she could see Marcia and Barnabas walking over to Darren, she turned back to Tom. The young couple kissed and continued hiking. Before realizing they'd gone off trail together, they heard a distant howl ahead of them. The howl was no normal wolf or coyote howl. It sounded like a man screaming, mixed with a huge wolf or wild dog howl. Suddenly, all the animals that were already making noise had fallen silent. Medina, what the fuck was that? Tom asked, looking in the direction of the strange howl. I don't know, Tom, but I can't see the trail anymore, and it's getting cold. Medina nervously chuckled. You think it's Bigfoot? Tom asked, also chuckling nervously. No, it sounded like a canine of some kind, Medina said, no longer chuckling. It sounds bigger than a wolf, Tom said, backing up. Another howl from the unknown animal. And this time, it sounded significantly closer. Tom turned to the right and saw the beast's eyes reflecting the light from the waning crescent moon. The beast was easily 4 feet and 6 inches tall at the shoulder. Fuck! It's right there, Medina. Look! Tom said, pointing at the beast as it continued to get closer, starting to circle. It's circling us, Tom. What do we do? Medina asked, whispering. The beast stood up, revealing it was not only 8 feet tall, but it was a hominid covered in hair. It looked like a huge naked man with pointed ears, a scalp of long, shaggy black hair, lighter black hair on the face, ears, and body, long black claws, long fangs, and white eyes. The beast had a long, fluffy tail with fur as dark as the scalp. Before Tom could answer, the beast answered for him. Run! The hominid lycan shouted in an incredibly deep and gravelly voice. You heard the wolfman! Medina screamed and started running. I'll catch up, Tom shouted as he started sprinting after her. The hominid lycan started running after the couple on 2 legs. Then after about 6 strides, the beast dropped back to all 4s. Medina kept running. Tom tripped over a root and fell, startling the already panicked Medina. Ah! Medina! Help! I fell! Tom shouted. Medina turned around and laughed as she grabbed his arm and said, You scared me, you idiot! I love you too, Tom said, standing up next to Medina. She grabbed his face and kissed him on the lips, when abruptly she felt a splatter on her face, neck, and chest. She leaned back and opened her eyes. As she felt the hot syrupy liquid dripping down her chest, she realized Tom's head suddenly felt both heavier and lighter. She let out a blood-curdling scream as she saw that she was only holding Tom's head. His body was nowhere to be seen. She dropped it and ran to camp, but she was not close yet. Barnabas was grilling steaks, and Marcia was blowing bubbles, and Darren was chasing the bubbles. The 3 of them were having a sweet moment when the beast dropped the headless corpse 10 yards from the campsite and charged right for Darren, who was a little too far from both parents. Just as Darren jumped up and caught the bubble he was chasing and popped it, the hominid lycan lunged and tore the Princess Darren in half at the waist, taking his lower half.
Oh no, my baby!
Marcia screamed in agonizing horror. The beast stopped and dropped Darren's lower half. Barnabas got in front of the grill, and that's when the beast lunged for Marcia and started ripping her apart, tearing her breasts off and smashing through her ribs.
Marcia!
Screamed Barnabas as he watched his wife die.
Barney!
Marcia screamed, but the beast grabbed her heart and tore it off with a screaming howl. The hominid lycan sing-song, mocking Marcia. The beast threw Marcia's claw-punctured heart at Barnabas.
Fuck!
Barnabas shouted and turned around to go get his gun from the car. The lycan was now circling Barnabas as he opened the car door. He fumbled briefly with the glove compartment as he tried to get the gun. The handle cooperated too late, and the hominid lycan had blasted his jaws into Barnabas' Achilles tendon, disabling him. Medina arrived on scene just as the beast beheaded her father before her eyes.
Medina!
Darren shouted weakly, surprisingly still alive. Medina ran to the car from the other side, opened the door, and grabbed the loaded pistol and shot the beast in the head. The beast yipped as it bled and started to come for her. Medina looked at her half-dead 5-year-old brother, who was already crawling towards her, bleeding from his waist stone. The beast tackled her and sank its teeth in her forearm. Medina raised her gun arm and shot the werewolf again in her throat, and shot again 4 times, breaking the beast's spine and the beast's skull. The beast dissolved into slime and nothing as the dead naked body of Joshua Silver was in its place. His long black hair hung in his face, and rigor mortis set in, giving the cadaver full stiffness as his mouth opened wider, and the whole corpse fell on its back. Darren whispered and fully collapsed, head in her lap. Medina wept. The end.
Join the pack! Join the pack!